What, man? What?
What?
Yeah.
Welcome to Christie's Dinner. My name is KILLcRey. If this is your first time tuning in, I thank you. If you've tuned in many times before, I thank you.
Again.
We are off to a dope start today, man. Man, there's a lot to talk about.
Your intro song, dude, where I ain't got no room in your casa.
I don't really have a lot of room right now in my house.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so the studio is in my house, and it can be awkward, right?
At times, but overall, it's comfy, man.
I mean,
it's comfy, man.
It's comfy, but it doesn't mean like it's not. Sometimes we're moving things constantly, basically. In the room that we're in, we're constantly moving stuff around.
Always pieces moving here, for sure.
Always pieces moving. New equipment coming in, new equipment going out. But nonetheless, I digress.
Yeah.
Degrease? Digress.
Sure.
I digress.
I'll take both of them.
I digress. If this is your first time ever tuning in, you are lucky. Today, I want to give you kind of a rundown of what the hell this show is, why we do this show, who am I, how dare I do a show, who is OG Hip Hop Eddie, and then that'll be like the first half hour of the show, and then we're going to be talking to a good friend of ours, a good friend of the show's, Cookbook. You can follow him at Cookbook the PR on Instagram. He is the host of Felipe's Garage podcast, and he's an artist in his own right. Mm-hmm. Amazing MC, producer, actor, videographer, podcast producer. We're going to talk to him about all those things and what kind of drives him. And a really cool thing that happened recently with him is that he did allegedly DMT. If you don't know what DMT is, it's a psychedelic. You know what I mean?
I do. Yes.
Yes, it's a psychedelic, and it's
it takes
it's one of the stronger ones.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the stronger ones. If you've never done DMT, if you have, then you know. But this is the crazy thing about Cookbook. He's the first person that I know.
Yes.
And I know this is not like that rare, but he's the first person that I know that went from, or maybe it is rare, that went from no drug use. I mean, nothing,
ever,
barely even had a beer, I guess, here and there, to like one of the strongest psychedelics you can have. And he had quite an experience.
That's awesome, man.
He had heard me and a good friend of ours, Arash, who used to co-host a show that I'll get into later with me. And we used to talk about it a lot. Cook had been following us for a while. We were friends. And he finally did it. And he's going to tell us that story, man. It's a pretty amazing story.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. So anyways, who am I?
Who are you, man?
My name is Christopher Reyes. I go by KILLcRey. You can call me Chris. People call me C. People call me KILLc. People call me Ray. People have called me Ray, Eddie. People have called me Ray. People call me Reyes. C-Ray.
I still have you on my phone under C-Ray.
Yeah, well, Eddie's my best friend, by the way, producer and manager. Yeah, so I am an artist. I can say that I'm a hip-hop artist in every facet of the word. I've only ever followed and felt connected to hip-hop culture since the first time I heard music. And it's the only thing that I've ever done my entire life. I mean, literally my entire life. I've had my hands in hip-hop somehow. And I'm an MC, a rapper. It seems like it's like a business card nowadays. Like a podcast is almost like a business card.
A must-have.
Yeah, it's a must-have now. But when we started, I assure you it was not like that. In fact, I was doing live radio prior to that. And we were streaming. We were like one of the first companies. Our company, PlatformCollection, was one of the first companies to do live streaming with video. We used to do it on this program called Stickcam.
Yeah, Stickcam.
It's a service that's kind of gone out of service since then, right?
Yeah. I mean,
in fact, I think the rumor on the street was that Be Real bought like maybe the infrastructure or something, because that was what Be Real TV was on as well.
Yeah,
so we started there, and that was actually doing really well. And we kind of walked away from that to do podcasting. I got really excited about podcasting. I definitely saw the future in podcasting, the future in voice in particular. When we started podcasting, we weren't doing video at all. In fact, video is still relatively new to us.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, this episode is technically like a rebirth of the entire show in one way or another. We've been trying different iterations of this show for the last 2 years.
Right.
Just live streaming commentary on stuff. We dipped into politics. We dipped into a lot. And after a lot of conversations, we've come to this. It's basically our love for the hip hop culture and how it affects everything else in our lives, especially this weird thing that has happened within the last 10, 15 years, where the majority of a lot of the content we make comes out on the internet.
Right.
And I was raised with, 90s hip hop. Like that's where I was at, like my, how would you say, like peak of hip hop knowledge was around the 90s. Since then it has slowly declined. And now I'm very like, I like what I like. I think that happens to everybody once they get older. I like what I like. And that can be anything from a brand new artist. That could be trap music. That could be hip hop music. That could be poppier shit. It's just whatever, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into vibes. Like I said, I'm a full-time artist. So keeping the vibes in a positive place for me and so that I can create and do the things that I do is super important to me. It's something that I make a priority in my life. So that's just kind of like why I podcast, because it's a way for me to speak to the people who follow my art, but also just to have a dialogue with people who might be into the types of art we're into, the types of things that we're into. And yeah, that's pretty much who I am, right? I mean, there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, definitely. But that's a good summary of
That's
it.
a good summary.
Mm-hmm.
So like this, we started off, Eddie and myself, we started off this journey doing,
what a growth, man.
yeah, just making I was making hip hop. Eddie was, managing me. He's always managed me in that he was really my partner in my brand and still is to this day, because I had a manager before I needed a manager. I think, and even now, I don't even think you could define Eddie as just a manager, because he literally runs the company, but also helps me manage my own brand. So usually there's two parts of my brand, right? Like if I'm in front of the camera, somebody's behind it. That's usually Eddie. And that holds true with almost everything that I do and all the content that I make. So me and Eddie have been on this ride for quite a while. And one of the biggest chunks of this ride was a podcast called the Crappy Awesome Podcast, where you can still catch it anywhere podcasts are found. In fact, I think the last episode, we haven't uploaded an episode in over a year, but I think the last episode was Reverie. Was it Reverie?
Yes.
Yeah, Reverie was on. But by the way, again, if this is your first time tuning in, I'm just kind of giving you a rundown of who I am, what this show is. I'm from San Diego, California. I rep SD to the fullest, but I've spent a lot of time in the LA area, in the LA hip hop scene, and mostly because of work. That's where we worked. That's kind of where we were doing a lot of the growth of our brand. And since then, San Diego as a whole has grown so much.
Right.
San Diego has grown so much. It is one of the best music cities in the world. I'll put my stamp on that. If you want to come and listen to amazing music, there are a lot of amazing local artists here. But it is different here than in LA, right? Because there's no real infrastructure to the entertainment business. And so when we were doing Crappy Awesome, we'd go up to LA a lot because a lot of the people that we'd interview was an interview-based show. And a lot of the people we wanted to interview and we aspired to interview were in LA. And
we had our studio there in West Hollywood. We had to get one, remember?
Right. We had a studio in West Hollywood, which we rented, by the way.
Yes.
We would rent
it.
almost every weekend think about this for real. We drove from San Diego to LA and back almost every weekend for 6 years.
Yeah. Yes.
And
throwing a couple twice a week.
Sometimes we do more than that, but on average we're up
Sunday,
there at least every Sunday. And we do anywhere from 2 to 4 podcasts because our plan was we were going to stack the podcast. And mind you, at that time we were only doing audio, so we were going to stack a bunch of podcasts, try to interview people. I mean, the interview process alone was a college into the music industry, like tracking down the whole. If you've ever done a thing where you need to interview somebody and you have to do that consistently, then you kind of know what I'm talking about. Like you learn a lot of different things because everybody is different. Everybody on the, everybody that you're going to book is different. Mm-hmm. Everybody interacts a little different ways, but all of the people that we were interviewing were people that were already in the music industry. They were at least pursuing their careers.
Right.
And some of them we caught very early. For instance, I mentioned Reverie. We caught her. We had her first podcast. We were her first podcast. Gavlin, Blimes Brixton, or Blimes now, right? Just Blimes. At the time, I think she was Blimes, Brixton, or Blimey. But
Blimey was at the time.
But then we went on to not just interview new artists that we were kind of fond of or just curious about. I was curious about a lot of the LA Underground and how, because for people who don't know, San Diego has roots in the LA Underground.
Right.
Shout out to Orko. If you don't know who Orko, the psychotic alien, is, look it up, especially if you're in the Southern California area. He was a big figurehead in San Diego hip hop history and still is on some paths. But there's a lot of connections between like our early history in San Diego and the LA Underground, specifically the Good Life Cafe. Specifically, It was a destination for San Diego artists. A lot of people don't know that. It's why our sound has always kind of been out of the box in San Diego. You can't put your finger down on what is the sound necessarily of San Diego. I'm sure a lot of people claim it, but the reality is when you look at the arena of musicians within San Diego, it's very diverse and everybody sounds very, very different. And there's a lot of experimentation in the music, a lot of cross-genre stuff. And that kind of came through the influence from like people like Orko and people who would go up to the Good Life and kind of bring back culture, really. And then it gets interpreted through the neighborhoods down here, the street life down here, and then San Diego kind of came, it had its own thing. But I say all that to say that the majority of our early beginnings in the industry were spent in LA, driving to LA and just putting in the work, tracking down artists we wanted to interview everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Tracking.
Yeah, we would hear about it. I'd hear a song. I'd be like, I want to interview that person. And we would just interview them. We'd go to their house or rent a studio. I mean, we've done podcasts on front lawns.
Yep.
In 1-bedroom apartments where it's packed in there.
Rooftops.
We've done it in front of crowds. Podcasting to me has been like an integral part of my own career. It's helped me learn a lot about the music industry. And I think at least within our community and the community around us, I think it's safe to say, and at least I hope it is, that the people who do deal with us know that we really know what we're talking about when it comes to at least podcasting and how it works and production of show, especially production. Mm-hmm. And not just music production, but production of shows and how to make content. We've been doing that for other people for a long time.
Right.
And we continue to do that for other people right now through our company, PlatformCollection. But we've been focusing a lot on our own content recently, and that's part of what this show is. So, like I said, we did Crappy Awesome for 7-8 years, over almost 400 episodes, I believe.
Yeah.
And everybody from members of Cypress Hill to, like I said, early interviews with some of the young artists, Far Side, it just a lot of people, and not just musicians. We started. That was one of the cool things about the podcast, was I think it got us interested in the behind the scenes. As we started to put together the show and saw how all that kind of worked, we started talking to people's publicists all of a sudden, because some of the artists we were getting were, let's be honest, their popularity was way bigger than ours was.
Right.
But I think, again, like I said, podcasting was new, so it was kind of interesting. People were willing to take a chance on a new thing. Now it's very hard to book people if you haven't been doing it for a while. Right. I get that complaint from people all the time. We want to book people like you guys, blah, 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 blah. But I'm telling you, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like they booked us because we were the coolest. We've been around for a long time doing this. So
comedians,
we booked comedians, actors, a lot of people who've kind of blown up. Just go check it out. I think one of the bigger names was one I like to use a lot is Hassan Minaj.
Yes,
we caught Hassan Minaj very early. He went on to join the Daily Show.
He was doing an MTV thing too, right?
Yeah, and now he's a huge comedian. Yeah. Little Esther, she was on the show very early.
Little Esther,
we had porn stars on for a while because I think we thought we were doing like a Howard Stern thing for a minute. I don't know. People would call us that. Oh, you guys are like the Howard Stern of hip hop. But I was listening to some old episodes, and I think they were just saying that because there wasn't anything to compare it to.
Right.
There definitely was not a hip hop show
Nobody was
like
doing
they are
that.
now. The only thing that was close to that was morning radio. So it felt very much like morning radio. So artists would come on, and that would be kind of the energy you would get. And sometimes, because we'd be at their houses or in their backyards or whatever, we started to get known for people coming on our show and pouring their hearts out. And telling us stuff
they loved it, bro.
Right.
They
like
loved it.
Who loved it? What do you mean? Like the audience?
The audience, and then the artists as well, because they were able to release like their emotions without, it was almost like a therapy session without even knowing you're going into
How many times did we get told that it was like a therapy session?
Tons of times, bro. Tons of times, yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that one of the things was that people just felt comfortable. I mean, honestly, we approached it from a place that we still approach it from today, in that just curious. Like I'm hyper curious. I'm super curious. Eddie can tell you that. I've always been that way. If I just meet you, I would love to talk to you about your entire life, who you are. It's gotten me in trouble. Trust me. Like I'm just a curious person. And so doing the podcast as much as we did was, it was second nature. And now this show is kind of what the direction we're going now, in that we wanted to talk more about broader topics, because we feel like this is a hip hop show, because I don't speak anything else but hip hop. Like it's what I've grown. To me, it is like a race to me, or but I know it's a culture. But to me, if you do hip hop and I do hip hop, I know we're like cousins. You know what I mean? Like there's a connection there, and people who truly love hip hop know what I'm talking about, And if you don't truly love hip hop, then think about something that you're a part of that kind of defines what you do. It can be whatever it is. But for me, I'm always looking at it through the lens of hip hop. How can this help hip hop? And then how can it help the people who follow hip hop? But how can it help hip hop first? Because to me, that needs to stay alive. And one of the ways we can do that, I feel, is by broadening the conversation. I know for me, especially coming up in San Diego, I think we have a unique perspective, because not being included in the larger conversation of hip hop for so long, which San Diego was not, in fact, I'd say we're just barely actually starting to really get in the conversation where it's more than just one or two artists every couple of years. Now there's a whole community, and there's a lot of unity between LA and San Diego right now. And it hasn't always been like that. Right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, definitely in the beginning days when we would go over there, you can either feel the tension of some of the artists in LA. Where like, what are these guys doing here? Or
right, which is
here?
totally understandable, right? Like if you're in a scene and then people from the outside of that scene come in, it's totally understandable to be skeptical.
Right.
People are skeptical in your own city. Trust me, if you're just doing something that is different, people are going to be skeptical. We just decided to make a living off of doing things different. Like to us, it had to be something very different every time we did it. So it always looked a little different in the presentation. Dude, the podcast was called Crappy Awesome. And we were interviewing a bunch of rappers. We were literally getting big name rappers to come on a show called Crappy Awesome. To me, that was part of the art. That was part of the show.
The beauty of it. Yeah.
We were trying to knock down these walls of like lack of communication in hip hop. I think that's what we have a lot in hip hop. Just this lack of communication, and thus we have a lack of understanding. Because there's things we will speak about and things we won't. There's things we do that none of us admit. It's kind of just one of those things everybody lets slide in the hip hop community. But then there's also like these weird things between like the generations in hip hop. And then when you get to the root of it, which I've spoken to a 14-year-old rapper. I've spoken to a 60-year-old DJ. Once you talk to them, they're all the same. They're artists.
Yes.
And as time goes on, I can see how people can lose communication within their own culture by just feeling left out or not understanding the new things or wondering why do the old heads act this way or why do the young. We made Crappy Awesome to try to get to the bottom of all of that. And now this show is an extension of that because now we're going to take hip hop and go off into the world now and talk to people that are connected to this culture or that can help this culture by gaining a connection to it. And we're hoping to be that connection for them. And our freeway is the internet. That's our freeway. Plus the fact that Eddie and I are kind of junkies for the internet.
And I like driving on the freeway, man.
You do that
a lot.
Eddie was one of the drivers. I mean, driving for all those years.
Yes.
Him and shout out to Mr. Arash.
Yes.
Another one of those drivers. But that's where we're at with this show. That's what this is. You're going to watch this evolve. This is the first episode. If you're listening to the audio format, this is the first episode of the audio format where you can catch it anywhere podcasts are found. But we're directly uploading to Spotify, I believe, but it'll be on the other platforms as well. Usually within the next few days after this live stream on YouTube. So you can catch it in many different ways. We're off and running. That's who we are. We have coming up the homie Cookbook, and you guys are going to love him, man. He's one of those guys, by the way, who's been along this journey. And that we would see every so often. He would dip into Crappy Awesome. He was on Crappy Awesome a bunch of times. We have a really good relationship, and I'm also proud to just call him my friend. He's my friend. I care a lot about the dude, and he has his own podcast called Felipe's Garage, which used to be on PlatformCollection. In fact, we helped him start his podcasting career, so it's going to be really cool to catch up with him. And he'll be up right after this commercial, man. We'll be right back.
You wait. Gotta do this. Hey, this is Parker Edison, and I'm host of the Parker Edison Project podcast. It's been a rough 12 months for everybody, and a lot of life has been put on hold. Some of it's just been plain old canceled. So here's some good news for you. The Parker Edison Project is back for season 2. The first episode drops March 9th. I don't know about you, but that's a long time to wait. So we cooked up 2 episodes in the meantime. We got uncut stories, insights from the underground. The first bonus episode is January 12th, wherever you get your podcast. It's got a whole bunch of stuff in it. Micah Nine's talking about writing for Jesse Jackson's presidential campaign. We even got a little snippet from your man KILLcRey. It's going to be bonkers. Be there January 12th, wherever you get your podcasts. Bang.
Make you look up, make you want to get what the cook does. Yeah, it's the cook up. It's that cookout, it's that cook up. Make you look up, make you want to get
recording
what the
in
cook
progress.
does. Yeah, come on. Say it one more
Recording
time.
stopped.
It's that cook out, it's that cook up, make you look up, make you wanna get what the cook does. Yeah. Get it with that verse. My name is Soto and I write dope raps. And for the right price, I write the whole track. I don't hold back, take no shorts, don't play sports, rather skate basketball courts. A man of many words, I'm down to say 'em. The planet never heard what I'm about to play 'em. With no delay, smooth as sorbet, sherbet, flip the beat into passion souffle. Now I'm about to shift gears, hit him with the 26 years of grilling up shit for his ears and for her ears. It's a new year, new frontier. When the cook coming through, people cheer. Eradicate the whack flows, dealing with these assholes, cooking up the beef on the gas stove. Got these rascals in the gallows, just for shadows, the cash flow and the ammo, your manholes. It's that cookout, it's that cook up, make you look up, make you wanna get what the cook does. Come on, you know what we doing, it's the cook up. The cook up.
Hold on. How about that? Is that better? I gotta sit in the light. Yeah, boy. Can you hear me okay though? Let me see if I can pull, because I'm in a cart. I'm gonna try to pull to where some more light to shine on me. Let's see. How about that? How's that for light, bro? Trust me, this is the best right here, right?
It's that cookout, it's that cookout.
Yee, do you see the internet right now?
Come on, it's the cookout. Bring it back. Say it again.
I know, I see that. We're kind of not almost in. There's probably about 2-3 more minutes of this video still. Sherbert's about to kick that dude's ass. Look at Sherbert's about to knock this fool out. Boom. Yeah, boy, what's up, Chris? Yeah, who else is in here? Just you?
I got the vision. I could see the millions.
Eddie, I thought that was a different voice. I thought that's not your voice. It was way sexier. That's real true. There's no denying it. Like literally no denying how sexy that voice was. Oh yeah, look at that run. Like getting in. Nice, bro. I'm glad. Do my part, man, for the community, do for the people. The people of America and the world. And the metaverse.
It's that cookout, it's that cook up, make you look up, make you wanna get what the cook does. Yo, you know what we doing here? One more time, last time, come on. It's that cookout, it's that cook up, make you look up, make you wanna get what the cook does.
Look at that chest.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Cookbook.
Yeah.
But we might as well just get to my man because he's here with us right now.
Boy.
Yeah, boy.
Wow.
Fresh
What up?
fresh off a psychedelic adventure.
Yeah, man.
My dude, Cookbook
I
is
could see
here,
the
dude.
shine in your
we had to
face.
put you in black and white because we know you're shining too bright right now, bro. You're probably
That's it, bro.
multi-dimensional colors. We had to adjust the camera that we got from some scientists to just get you flat again. You know what I mean?
No doubt, bro. Yeah, you got to bring me back down to earth a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir, dude.
I've been floating around for about 3 weeks now.
And you're gonna keep floating, man, but it's all good.
Hell yeah.
Dude, so first of all, thank you for coming on the show, man. For people who do not know my boy Cookbook, MC, as you just saw him tear up the mic right there, but he's also a podcaster. He's a lifetime artist, just like myself. He's been doing this his entire life. He's a
Yep.
He keeps saying that he's going to stop, and he's never going to stop. And we don't want him to stop. We have voted no again on that, Cook, for sure. You can never stop. But we really want to talk to you a lot about, before we even get into the DMT thing, I want to kind of talk to you about a little bit of your history for people who might be hearing about it for the first time. Can you give us kind of a little rundown of at least your hip hop side of the story?
Okay. So I've been into hip hop my whole life. I've been into music my whole life, as you said. I grew up doing music with my dad and my family. It was like a thing in our family. But I started rapping and doing music while I was still in school. I mean, I got probably in middle school, I think, or I'm not. I got my first beat machine. My parents helped me get it, and we were rapping and doing shit like that. And then not too long after that, I started linking up with the LA Symphony cats just through different open mics and little shows we would do like here and there. And, as we got to know each other as friends, we just linked up because we all seemed to have the same vision for music and just made that super crew. And that really started my adventure. I got a record deal not too far out of getting out of school. Man, the year 2000, I went on a huge adventure, and became sort of an industry story. Our record got shelved and we went through hell, but I learned
this is with LA Symphony. For people for people who don't know, LA Symphony for sure was a mainstay within the LA underground and independent hip hop scenes. I remember, like, I think I told you a story. I remember seeing you in like these little rap zines down in San Diego. They'd make these little rap zines, and you guys would be all over that thing. So you guys were killing it.
I love that. That's so dope, man. I mean, you don't always know the reach, right? And I love when you told me that story, and other people tell me that story. Like, there's people that I roll with now that I feel like are just getting introduced to me. And then as you get into like either working with them or just talking with them, they're like, yo, bro, real talk, I've been a fan since XYZ album or whatever. And you're like, damn, bro, like people really do fuck with my shit, like they've been listening, and I love that, dude. It's always encouraging. You know how it is as an artist. It's really encouraging, to know like how far your reach has been.
Yes, sir.
And that people still respect what you do. So that's a good feeling.
Yeah. Okay. So take us back to the story. You become kind of an industry story. Your guys' record gets shelved. Yeah. The group kind of breaks up, right? Take us forward from there.
Yeah. Well, basically, yeah. We toured a number of years, and then eventually we're like, all right, we're not broken up, but like we're gonna let everybody chill and do their own thing. So I started my solo career. I was doing records also with Uno Mas, but I felt this tug to be a solo artist. So 2009 is when I dropped my first solo record, and I've been going strong ever since. So that's like my second 10,000 hours, I like to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude, real shit though, man. You are one of those people who has done it. You've run a few laps. Like there's been a few laps in different parts of the industry as well. It's not just you, because you're a dude, by the way, you're an amazing producer as well. He doesn't just rap, he produces. He's produced for a lot of other people. He's helped other artists develop. You've mentored people. I mean, and you know how it is in this industry, bro. Like I'm sure you can attest to this. People who want to help are not that plentiful. Like really want to help. Like there are not that many. And a lot of us who do want to help, we all kind of meet each other and we all kind of know each other, right?
Well, yeah, and it's bringing that up. It was really like a big deal to meet you and Hip Hop Eddie and Arash at the time that I did, because I was at a point feeling pretty discouraged about what you just said. I would look around, I'd be like, yo, like, not to name any names, but I'd be like, yo, all of y'all know me. You know me from LA Symphony. You know that I'm hot on the mic. You know I do dope music. You know I'm working hard. I'm not asking for handouts. Yeah. But nobody wants to like crew up or help out or like, you know what I mean? It was always like,
or just point a direction on the map. Like, how about go that way, right?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, all along the ways. And I'd be like, it became sort of like a poverty mind state to me. Like, hip hop poverty. Like, there's only so much. It's like it was like they were swimming in a pond, and I was saying, dude, it's not a pond, it's an ocean. So there's more than enough for all of us.
Yeah,
let's just do this work. Let's feed each other. Let's work. But it didn't seem like people wanted to do that. So I just kept, doubling down and tripling down on doing everything myself, because I was the only one I had. That's how come my label that I have is called Just Us Movement, because I always said like, who's your manager? Just us. Who's your producer? Just us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
who's your
Tight.
tour manager? Just us. Who's your agent? Just us, man. So I was like, Just Us Movement. That's, that's what it is, and that's what it always has been. I'm down for it not to be that. Trust me. I'd love to give some of the work to other people for sure.
Yeah.
But I know how to do it all at this point.
Where are you at with that, man? When you think about like, because we think about that kind of stuff all the time too, like team building, and like we're constantly doing that. You know that. In fact, you just met some new staff of ours, and we're constantly trying to create those things. How easy is it for you to like partner with somebody? Because I feel like a lot of artists think like, man, how come so-and-so doesn't want to work with me? Or so-and-so, I dropped them a DM and told them to like, I got this business plan. Like, how easy is it for you to actually do that? Like to actually partner with someone?
So it's very easy for me to do it, but I think we all get in, like, especially you start the independent grind and you're doing everything yourself. You get real used to doing it.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're a little too hands-on. You're like, just get out of my way, I'll do it. You know what I mean? But as far as like, I spent years taking meetings and trying to get management. And it's like, they know who I am, but they're looking for some certain amount of, whether that's number of, like management agents, they don't want to work with an artist until you don't need them anymore.
Yeah.
They want you to do all the work, and then they want to roll up and be like, oh, I'll manage that now. So I just gave up on looking for managers. Like, I don't think about management. I don't think about record companies, none of that shit. I just do it all myself. But if someone rolled up and was like, yo, I want to book shows for you, I would say, hell yes, let's go. And if somebody said they want to manage me, depending on their credentials or whatever, I would say, hell yes. But the management would be a little more of a discussion, because I'd have to see what they're bringing to the table. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And so do you feel like at this point in your career, you've done so, I would imagine that somebody would have to like really, they'd have to be able to do something that you can't do for yourself, right? Like,
well, yeah. And that's why I'm saying about the management part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Booking agent's great. You're going to book them shows. Great. I know how to do that, but please just do that. And the proof's more in the pudding on that. Like, it's real easy. Like, do I have shows this month? Then you did your job. But management can be a little more abstract, or a little more like, you got to give it time. Like, well, let's see what he does after 6 months or a year or whatever. And it's like, how do you quantify that? It's a little harder. So I'd have to have a little more discussions before I agree to give up a percentage of anything that I'm making. You know what I mean? I'm working so hard to make even whatever little bit of money I make now. It's like, I'm not really down to give it up.
Unless you're bringing something huge to the table.
Exactly. Exactly. Because like an agent, okay, you book a show, you get your 15% of what I make. It's real simple. And if you don't book a show, you don't get money. So I'm not losing anything.
Right.
But a manager is like, if I get like my quarterly, royalties from record sales, and you haven't done jack shit, but you want 20%, nah, homie, like, why do that? It's a little less. It's a little more of a gray area, I think, with management. It shouldn't be. I mean, you should see them hustling and creating opportunities for you. But sometimes they don't. They don't.
Not everybody has a OG Hip Hop Eddie, bro. Not everybody has a Hip Hop Eddie.
Bro. Not everybody. Yeah. I've had managers too, and you'd be like, yo, you're fired, dog. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, what have you done? Like, LA 70s run through a gang of managers. There's some good ones, but most of them just were like, we had this one guy, we used to call him, his style of management is poolside management. Like, he's always somewhere chilling. Why aren't you in there fighting for us, bro? Like,
he looks like a manager.
Yeah. Like, a lot of managers want to wait till the calls come in.
Right.
That's cool and all, but like, go make calls yourself and make something happen. And that's when you really earn that money.
Right. Because you as the artist are making things happen. Like, you're having to go into the studio and make things happen, pull things out of nowhere,
no doubt,
and make things that people will buy and follow and put their hearts in. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Dude, talk a little bit about the your transition into becoming a host. We were just talking about it before you came on, that you know, we all go way back, and we met through podcasting. We literally met through us wanting to interview you. I knew about you already. I knew, like I said, I knew for years about LA Symphony. I was interested in the story. I looked around and I was like, wow, there's not the whole story of Cookbook himself isn't really out there. Like, I want that story. Like, I was obsessed with, like, I want him to come here and tell us the story. And that's kind of how we met you. But kind of talk about now you're your own. You've hosted a few different shows now.
Yeah, so I'd say 3 to be like exact.
Yep.
So I started with you guys on PlatformCollection. You guys started me off. Everything that I know about podcasting comes from you guys, for sure.
Wow.
And I originally started really though at the end, I think, of 2015, and that was exactly what you were alluding to earlier. It was about my goal with that was really to help other artists. It was really it could benefit like anybody listening, because the principles are the same no matter what you do, right? Success principles are the same, whether you apply them to, like, you're a chef or whatever, or you apply them to you're a musician or whatever, it doesn't matter. But mine, of course, the niche was to be for artists. So my goal was to interview artists in the scene and ask them specific questions that would draw out sort of their mind states and their success habits, right? So that's how that started. And that's what I did. I can't remember. I think I did about 40 something episodes of that iteration. And, you know, it wasn't going as well as I thought, just being 100% honest. And I was, you know, so I started looking around. At that point, before 2015, I didn't even listen to podcasts, right? But once I was going to start a podcast, man, I listened to so many podcasts since then. It's like, I listen to that more than music now. And so the more I was listening, the more I saw, like, the entertainment podcasts, like the ones that cover shows or do things like that, were doing incredibly well. Right?
Yeah.
And that's when I was having these conversations all the time with Merce is just a friend of mine. And so I'd call him up and we'd be talking about Walking Dead or some of the latest Star Wars movie. And I was like, yo, this is a podcast. Like, he's got the fan base and the notoriety, and we have this great conversation that we're just wasting by not recording it and putting it out. And so that's when I pivoted to Felipe's Garage to do a more entertainment driven podcast where we cover shows and movies and also hip hop, of course. So yeah.
And you guys, you, like us, are kind of a culture freak. You're really into, like, I mean, it says a lot about why you've, you know, been relevant for so long and been able to keep your voice fresh within the scene, is because you pay attention to, like, a lot of the stuff around you. You pay attention to the changes in the culture, in the entertainment business. I'm always seeing you, like, checking for that stuff. And Felipe's Garage in particular is one of those shows that talks a lot about those kind of things. But you guys also talk about these bigger thought ideas, I like to say, thought experiments. You guys really connect into things. And psychedelics was one of those things that kind of jumped on your plate.
That was like a 2-year conversation we were having, like almost day one of the new iteration of Felipe's Garage, when we brought E Green and King in and Nesto. We started talking about that, and we went over that on our podcast, you know, with you and stuff. But it was really just curiosity from hearing it from you guys and from Joe Rogan, for me personally, that I was like, yo, I want to try that. And I, you know, my history, everybody knows, like, I'm about as, like, squeaky clean as it gets when it comes to anything. Like, I never even smoked a cigarette, much less weed or, you know, freaking acid or anything, nothing.
Right.
So I always thought it'd be like a crazy idea to do that. Like, imagine just recording me going straight from never having done anything all the way straight through the roof to DMT. And so that really became like a joke, but also a goal. Like, we're going to do that someday, because we all wanted to do it. And that was going to be the way I was just going to be introduced to the whole world of anything, is just go straight to DMT. Like, why waste time, right?
Wow. And I obviously the next step was you reached out to your boys to try to administer it, even though we almost completely ruined it for you, which is a whole nother story. I'm not going to give it away. Go listen to the podcast.
Take it listen to pod.
Take it to the exactly. But you guys documented this whole thing which in a way I've never heard before. I thought it was super dope. Like, you really feel like what you guys went through. Can you give us just a little bit of like a rundown of like the experience, your actual experience under DMT?
Absolutely.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So the big thing for me was, if you remember, was like, am I going to be able to even smoke? I don't know how to smoke.
Right. You never even smoked a cigarette. Right.
Nothing. And man, I just went for it. I just took it to the head, and I never even exhaled. I think I just, over the beginning of my trip, it just sort of trickled out.
Yeah.
But like, for the most part, I did it. You know what I mean? And it hit me pretty much right away. And it felt like maybe like four hands, like two people, let's say, kind of starting on my chest, out through my arms, just kind of pushed me down. Like, not in an aggressive way. They weren't being like aggressive and shit. It was very gentle, but like pushed me down. It seemed like, and then I was just, from the chest out through my arms, I just started feeling, tingly, and just a sort of a surge of energy. Maybe a good way to describe it is like, if you could feel your blood rushing through your veins, that's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And so I just closed my eyes and I said, let's see what happens. And I saw the shapes and colors that people say that they see, and that was super dope, man. And at one point I felt like my tongue disintegrated. That was sort of the big one,
man. That one gave me chills when you told me about that. Talk about that a little bit.
So that's, being that I never did anything, and all the instruction was like, you got to let yourself go. You got to let yourself just give into it.
Yeah.
In the beginning of my trip, that's what I was going through. It's like I was feeling it, but I was also still sort of holding back a bit. And I could hear myself talking to myself like, dude, just give in, just let it go. And I felt like my tongue evaporating. Immediately I sort of got this revelation, but more so even in the days after. Obviously my tongue didn't, but the feeling and the thought and the experience of my tongue being gone was through podcasting or doing music or coaching and, doing consultation with people. Everything about my life is about me speaking and or using my voice. And so I've always said to everybody, like, my number one gift is my tongue. That's the way I describe my speaking, because I'm like, it's not just speaking, it's singing, it's rapping, it's all the things. So I just boiled it down to my number one gift is my tongue. And so when I was feeling like a little apprehension, I feel like the number one thing that I felt like I lean on, that I make money from, that everything about me, my number one gift had to leave first. It literally felt like it just disintegrated away. And at that point I was able to really then let go. I'm like, I don't have what I feel like makes me anymore. You know what I mean? Like, the gift of gab or whatever that thing is now gone. So that's now out of the way. So now I can just give in to my experience. And I felt like walking away from that, it's not only that, but it's also that I'm more than just my gift of gab. Like, my tongue might be my number one gift,
right?
But there's a lot more than that. You know what I mean? I don't have to. It's more about like removing more limits. That's what I felt like I got from it, because there was a certain point in my life without DMT trips where I realized I'm calling myself a rapper or a musician, and I felt like now I at that point I felt I was limiting myself.
Wow.
So I made a shift at that time and said, I'm an entertainer, and and it's true. So that encompasses a lot more. And that allowed me to start a podcast or start coaching and consulting other people and start nurturing other artists and doing all these other things, because I took some limits off.
Yeah.
So I feel like one of the main things I walked away from when the whole tongue thing happened was just more layers of limits coming off. Like, you're not limited only by your tongue and your gift of gab as well. So that I think that's the deeper thing I took away in the days following my trip.
I can definitely see that connection, man. And having known you personally, for a few years now, I could see how that is, because and I want you to talk about this a little bit too, man. One of the things we were talking about earlier, this at the beginning of the episode, we were kind of giving the audience, anybody who is new, a rundown on who we are and why we even do this. And one of the things that was, a focal point of us giving that explanation was like the idea of being like out of the box and thinking out of the box and trying to constantly push barriers and you know, especially when art is what you do and it is who you are, to me, I feel like the healthiest place for you to be is kind of in that uncomfortable place of what's coming next? What can I do next? Like we get caught up in that a lot as artists, but do you feel like as an artist, like your journey has been one of those things that you can look back on fondly? Do you look back on it and go like, man, all of it's been worth it so far?
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look back into the past in a number of ways, really just two ways, right? You can look back and take away from it what you learned from it, or you can look back with regret, right? And I've experienced both of those. And there was a long time where regret was probably the main thing I felt, because I can easily identify to you guys clearly the points where I could say, I should have made a decision here. I did it wrong here. I could easily do that. But instead of having regret for that, I can look at that and say, I now know what to do and what not to do, right? So I can only go forward, right? So I can't get that time back. So one big lesson I learned is to try to pivot and to be able to pivot faster, right?
That's a
for
good
so
one.
long I was like, I gotta go, and that's similar to changing to entertainer or be like, so if something isn't working totally, you don't have to throw out what you love. You don't have to throw out your artistry or your whatever. You just have to pivot. When life changes on you, now you got kids or now you got this, you don't have to stop doing what you love. You have to pivot. You have to figure out how it works into your life now. And I think that's a huge part of longevity. Whatever longevity I have has been, I didn't always pivot and I didn't always do it quickly, but the more I learned that, the more I did it. Same thing. I mean, we wouldn't even have Felipe's Garage if I just kept going with what I thought a podcast should be, is what I want podcasts to be.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't what the market wanted. I mean, people liked it, but when I did Felipe's Garage, I pivoted because I recognized a trend in podcasting. I pivoted, it exploded, and we went from hundreds of listeners to thousands and thousands of listeners, almost overnight.
That's fucking awesome, man.
Woo. And anytime you can recognize something like that in your life, like go for it. Like I'm at the point now, it's like, and it's weird because, we're getting older, right? So normally you don't pivot as much. You don't jump into new things as much, but why not? I mean, as long as you're taking calculated risks and you're considering your loved ones, like if I'm considering my wife and kids and making sure that I'm not pivoting out the house, you know what I mean?
Right.
Then it's only going to benefit them, because if I do one, it only takes one right pivot to explode something out that you don't even know, and then everybody's happy because now, oh shit, Pops is successful. Pops has got a gang of money coming in. Pops got, our life just changed but if I don't do that, then I already know what I'm getting. I'm getting what I'm getting right now. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I think all of that stuff, and even going back to the DMT trip, I think all of that kind of ends up being more and more solidified. Like when I think about the journey I went on and the feeling of limitlessness that I got at the end of my trip, when it was pitch black, but it wasn't. It's really hard to describe. It was like I was in the universe without stars. So that means there was just infinite distance. And I remember stretching my hand out, and it wasn't even scratching the surface of how far this darkness was that I knew. And I don't take that darkness as something scary. It might be quote unquote the unknown, but the unknown is not scary. And it also is saying that things are limitless. Like you can do what you want to do. You can figure it out. And there's all kinds of avenues. There's all kinds of things. And now more than ever, bro. I mean, you see what's going on with technology. There's so many ways to make money, to create success, to get your brand out, whatever the hell you're trying to do. There's a lot of ways to do it. And so it's funny, I've been talking with my man Uno Mas, and I've been saying, look, no matter how old we're getting, we got to reach deep within and pull whatever like young hunger we got left, pull it up now and just throw it all on the table and go. Because why not?
Damn.
Why not, right?
Fire.
One day we're going to wake up and we think we're old now. One day we're going to wake up and we're going to be fucking 50 or 60.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's like, yo, when I turn 50, I want to be like, I already have goals. I know what I want to do across the board, I mean, and I'm thinking about technology, investing as well as music and as well as all of these things, because we can do a lot of things, if you set goals right and you create an order and in your life, we can do so much more than we give ourselves credit for.
Ooh, there it is. Wow. There, ladies and gentlemen, I told you, I told y'all. This is we go back. Us and Cook go back. We've all been on this proverbial path for a while, and I'm not even just talking like entertainment business. I'm talking about like just getting your mind right, like getting your life right. Like we've been doing this for a long time,
and not even just like podcasts or publicly, just our conversations, just when we talk on the phone and stuff. Like we've had so many deep conversations, and I think it's important to keep having these conversations, man, and hopefully this encourages some people out there,
I know it does, dude. I know it does. The chat room loves it. I mean, you guys are, dude, tell people how they can support you right now and how to link up with the podcast, because they should definitely be checking out this podcast.
Yeah. So we just launched a Patreon, and that's really important because it really, in essence, is what's going to help the show to survive, because we just got to a point where like there's so many things that we're all doing that we had to monetize and move towards that. So it's patreon.com/Felipe's Garage. There's a lot of tiers in there, and there's even a tier if you scroll down to the bottom where they can have monthly coaching sessions and things with me. So I inserted that aspect, of it, where I'll help them, with their music or whatever their career is. But even just for $5 a month to support us, you get all the episodes. But if you want to know what we're all about before paying, we still have 200 episodes for free on, anywhere you listen to podcasts. We're there for those episodes. Sir. So please go do a deep dive on us. We have a lot of great shows. A lot of them are hilarious, man. It's just like four like best friends and brothers just clowning around, talking shit, just like you would at your crib. But, like you said, we do land on some good points sometimes too, and we get into some real shit as well. Yeah. But it's all around. It's really fun. I love doing it. I love the community that's starting to develop on Patreon as well. That's something I was reluctant, but if I didn't pivot, the show would be done already. So I had to pivot, and now I'm building the Patreon and I'm learning about it. But as I'm learning, we're having a good time in there, just the community that's starting to build in there. And like I said, the first barrier of entry is just $5. So $5 a month is nothing. You get a lot of perks and stuff. So you can read about that.
Yeah. And these guys do crazy stuff, man. Trust me. And they are hysterical all the time. Anytime I listen to them, you're going to catch yourself busting up. I had the privilege of being on a past episode, so go check that out as well. But trust me, Cookbook, Felipe's Garage, they are an investment to make. Please do that. Please come back on the show. For sure, you're going to be back on the show. I got to get you. We'll do this in person too one day. But man, thank you so much, dude, for coming through. And I know you're taking time. Shout out to Cookbook for taking the time, because I know you're out there in these streets. You know what I mean? Staying busy. Always. You know what I mean? So we'll see you guys. We'll see you next time, boo.
Take care, Cook.
Okay, man. Peace.
Yeah, that's the homie Cookbook right there, man. Shout out to to good people like that, bro.
His words were definitely like, everything happens for reasons in life and stuff like that. So definitely his words were very touching to me, very meaningful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, whoa.
For your life right now.
For my
right?
life now.
Yeah. Cook, sure, it's weird, man. We always kind of have like that same vibe with him in that I feel like we're always kind of on the same page in our lives. Wherever he's at in his life, I'll call him or he'll call me, or, we'll all talk and we'll kind of talk about like, damn, we're kind of at the same place, kind of thinking the same things. But it is rare, very rare. Like, man, look at that was like 30 minutes and this dude dropped jewel. I mean, that's jewels.
Lots.
Play this shit back.
Over and over. I will have to.
Because he had some jewels in there, man. Like he really is a guy who's kind of done this all. He's done it all. He knows, and he knows how to do it all. That's a big thing. And the thing he was saying too about like, throwing, like reaching down inside yourself and throwing it all on the table. I agree, man. You have to do that at any point in your life when you're starting to go like, yo, what is next? Or maybe your future's not clear. Man, it's time to buckle up. There is no time for tears in that part of your life. And Cook is one of those guys who's gone through the wars, major label deals, touring around the world, podcasts, shows, you name it, he's done it. And so, if you're going to make an investment, I would go do that. I mean, dude, getting $5 a month and you can get some coaching. So if you're like an artist and you're just looking, and here's the thing, man, you know, if you followed anything about us, Platform Collection, I am not going to try to hawk some bullshit to you guys at all. That shit comes back on us.
Yes.
If you went there and like it was bullshit, that shit would all come back on us, and you guys would be like, man, you guys suck. That's not what I'm saying. Cookbook is a personal friend. If that guy, if you're maybe struggling in the entertainment business, or you just need some coaching through the entertainment business, man, link up with that dude, because he's going to be honest with you. And sometimes that's what you really, really need. You need someone to, like he said, man, like it's very hard to find people in the entertainment business that just want to help. He really does want to help. Go do that and start with his show. You don't want to invest, just go listen to the show for free. He drops gems. They're funny, but I'm telling you, his knowledge and insight in the entertainment business has been things that we've used personally. Me and Eddie have used personally his knowledge and his insight on things. And I'm very grateful to have him in our lives. He's a really good dude. And he's just a really good dude. So you're not going to get cheated. None of that good stuff, man. So check him out and run up his music, man. He makes really dope hip hop. He makes fun hip hop. Like, he's a really great producer.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, this last video you were playing of his that was dope, man.
That's fire. Oh, you hadn't seen that,
bro.
You know what? He showed us that when we went up to his podcast.
Yeah, and I was like,
he did like a whole movie. It was like a whole movie. He's that guy though that is willing to do the extra steps to make it look exactly how he wants, and to like really, really like harness his talents. He's not willing to bend on that kind of stuff. And again, like if you're looking for someone to coach you, boom. Like, because that's what you need in this business, guys, for sure. It's consistency, but it's also it's the know-how and the knowledge of when to be able to do the things that he's talking about, to pivot, to hunker down on something, to throw something away. Like, a lot of people get very attached. We as artists always get attached to everything that we make. But that's not the healthiest thing. The reality is everything you make is for the world. That's what it should be for. Unless you're just a hoarder, and then you probably don't want to entertain anyways, right? If you're putting it out, that is for entertainment. It's for people to take it in. And if it has a message and then they digest that message, that's the bonus. But the reality is, if you're an artist, like myself, like Cookbook, I know I can speak for us in that I can't help but make stuff. I have to make stuff. So in order for me to do that and still have a good relationship with my surroundings, with my culture, with the people of the planet, I have to give it out to them. And I try to give those things in positive ways. And Cookbook is one of those guys that does that too. It's very important to him that what he's doing is received well and that it's honest. So yeah, shout out to Cookbook, man. Hopefully we'll have him back on. We are definitely going to be having a lot more guests coming on. So look forward to that.
Pivot is the word of the day for me.
Yeah, right when he said that, I was like, all right, I know what we're calling this episode. Yes. You know, pivoting with Cookbook or something like that. But
thank you, Cookbook.
Man, here's the other thing is that he did DMT. Eddie and I have both done DMT allegedly for fake.
It's not the truth, and that helped me. Where like just accept the truth and get over it and move on. And
DMT brought that out.
That brought up to me, yeah.
Helped you be more honest with yourself overall. More honest
with myself, yeah.
I agree. That the same thing happened with me. That's why I was so excited I'm always excited. I gave up a long time ago telling people they should do DMT.
I think...
I think it's one of those things that has to find you, right?
Right, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, that'll just find you, and wherever you're at. If it is your time, you will, it will come to you and you'll try it.
Yeah, because it doesn't. Here's the reality: is I've also seen certain people take it and nothing happened. Like they didn't change them for the good at all. It wasn't something they took that serious. It was just kind of an experience. It was a high.
Right.
Whereas I knew if Cookbook was to do it, he doesn't get high. Like that's not one of the things that he does.
Yes.
I've experimented with psychedelics, for a long time. So, and I like the high. So it was very different. Cookbook went from nothing to blasting off, as they say. And I was excited for him because someone that creative and that someone who has that kind of work ethic, I was excited to see what DMT was going to bring out. So it's going to be cool to watch him over these next few months because I know he's already talking about pivoting on a lot of different things and he has a lot of ideas he's trying to get out there. And he's a born entertainer.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited when people do it, but I've just stopped telling people that they should because I don't want to rob people of that experience. I always, if I'm around it and people that I know are around it and they've never done it, I'm always just like, well, how do you feel? Because to me, DMT doesn't lie. If you want to do it, it's probably because how do you say it? It wants you to do it,
right? It'll call you. It'll just call you.
But yeah, I don't mean to get too woo woo on everybody, as people call it, but
and everybody's will be different. My first one was like scary, a little like
it was kind of dark, right?
Yeah, and then the second one was more emotional for me, and so it just changed. But they both were helpful, for myself, to become a better person.
You feel like you have a good relationship with it now, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. That's the other thing is like Cook said. He wanted to do it almost right away again. And
that is the feeling. Yeah.
And that is the feeling because I think one of the things, and I don't think he mentioned this, but one of the feelings that you kind of get after DMT, especially the first time you do it, is it feels like it almost just gives you like the quick, Hollywood bus tour through another dimension. You just get to see really quick. And after you have so many questions, because at least for me, it definitely gave me an understanding that, man, something else is there.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't want to sell you on it either. You could do it or you don't. Mm. For me though, for someone I am a skeptic. I feel like I am a healthy skeptic. To me, I do need to feel and experience things to kind of really understand them. And I didn't know how I felt about DMT, but after I was like, I get it. Because there is definitely a feeling that I can say, and having spoken to a lot of people who've done it, I think there's this feeling that most people have never felt ever. And then the first time you do feel it, it does feel like, and I always say it in these simple terms, it just feels like there's more to all of this. And DMT kind of shows you.
Yeah, it opens.
Like the basis of what reality might be. It's way beyond our understanding, but it definitely shows you that this isn't it. Like this isn't all, like what we see and what we hear, and it's very limited. And I think we know that scientifically, right? Like our bodies and our perception, it's very limited. DMT just taps you into a different thing. And then I think the questions and where you take it are up to you. But I'm excited for Cookbook because I know the kind of questions this dude asks himself. He's constantly trying to improve himself. He's one of the people that inspired a lot of the moves that I've done when it comes to like improving myself and really just taking ownership of your own improvement. Like it is yours. You own that. Nobody else can do that for you. You own that. And I saw Cookbook doing that early on when I met him, and it inspired me to, along my own path. So that's why I was excited about him doing it. I'm excited about anytime like a cool person does it.
Yeah, man. I mean, when he did it and I asked you about it, you told me his experience, but it's been a couple of weeks now, and him talking about it.
You can hear it, right?
I was like, oh wow, it was so great to see him. Like,
oh, that's right, because you weren't there. You weren't. Yeah.
Get to see more of it, and like he's evolving in it. Like it's wow, it's like it's so dope, man. To just see.
Do you
him.
feel like are you planning to do it anytime soon, or is that something that's like on your list?
Yeah, it's on my list. I think I do feel like the next time I run into it, it'll probably be a go for me.
Oh, like you definitely want to do it.
Yeah, it'll be a go for me.
I got you. Yeah, I think I'm kind of ready too, man. I want to see what it looks like through these eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I feel like I've changed a lot since the last time I had a full DMT trip, so I'm kind of interested to see what it'll bring me now. You know?
Yeah, there you go. That's what it is. What is this? And let me try it too. Like, okay, now I know. And then I evolved and like, oh, what? I'm gonna ask it questions. I know I'm going. And then I asked it the questions. Now it's like, tell me, or I mean, I just feel that there's, I can't say that they're gonna give me a specific answer, but it'll give me an answer that probably is hidden inside me that
that you're looking for.
Yeah, that'll spark up.
Yeah, whatever's next.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and this one for sure. I think the emotional part in me has been almost fixed from the second time.
Right, I got you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm hoping. I don't know. I just kind of want, like I said, for me, it's just more about experiencing what it is like now. Like, did I miss anything this last time? Because I haven't done DMT in so long, or at least a full blown DMT.
Oh, you were doing a couple that day. Huh?
Yeah, maybe a year.
A couple that day.
But yeah, I'm interested. It's definitely in my future. So yeah, shout out to Cookbook. Man, so we're definitely going to be booking a lot more guests on this show. If you don't know, now you do. I got next week. In fact, we have this really cool entrepreneur artist coming on. His name goes by 86 Inca. You can follow them on 86 Inca on Instagram. And this gentleman has been putting together this really cool brand. And I want to talk to him because he's kind of filling a space that I don't really see getting filled within the hip hop community. And I'm always interested in people who are doing new things and new kind of ideas. So he's going to be on next week. So if you guys make sure to tune in, tell a friend, 86 Incas on the show. And then we might have some other guests. I'm thinking about doing a couple of guests to show. Eddie and I were just talking about, prior to us starting the show today, how we just really, really want to go hard. Mm-hmm. We really, really want to go hard for this show. And we may even be adding a day. We may be adding a day during the week. We might go twice a week. So we're excited for everything that's coming. We're going to do some on location stuff. And
yes,
and even some roundtable things. Me and Eddie have been talking about bringing on multiple guests and having them, like, finding really cool guests to talk to each other. We think that might be really cool. And me and Eddie will just kind of dip out and then let them talk to each other and let you guys watch it. I know we like the majority of the people that follow us and really support PlatformCollection. We got a lot of artists in that community. And so we're trying to really give you guys some inspiration and some people that maybe can give you guys like some knowledge that we can't, you know? Yeah, I think Cook, like I said, he dropped some gems today. I know 86 Inc. is going to drop some gems. We got coming up, I on my list already is Noah James. Of course, Curtis King is coming back on the show. Tumex is coming up soon. So we're going to have people dropping gems. And it's cool because I think in all our other content on PlatformCollection, and if you follow us like on our various social medias, we follow a lot of hip hop artists, and we let you get to know a lot of hip hop artists. And I think the difference with this show is that we're going to bring on people that we kind of know or want to get to know, and we're not going to just talk hip hop. We're going to talk about their tactics.
Right.
Their thought process, like how are they approaching these things, so that maybe you guys can measure your own thought process against theirs and see, are you doing something better, or maybe there's some things you need to pick up on. Whatever. I want to be of service. That's what I want this show to be. It's all I really want to do. It's honestly, like, the reality is I do everything I do in art in order to try to connect with people and hopefully help them through and past things that I may have dealt with myself in my own life. in order for people to not continue to make the mistakes I may have made or are seeing things in the light that I've seen them, then we have to share our stories. We have to share our experiences and try to help each other. And I'm willing to do that for sure. I'm willing to lay it all out. This is always going to be one of those honest shows. And that's where we're at, man. I know me and Eddie are super excited. Once again, this is the first episode that's going to be on Spotify. So a couple days after this goes live on YouTube, once again, it'll be on Spotify.
I mean, I was going to tell people to make sure to have their pen and paper, but I think we're beyond that. I mean, they got the phones.
Yeah. They can just play it back on YouTube. And another thing we're thinking of doing is, what do you think about this, Eddie? I was thinking about also putting together a Telegram.
Yes.
I love the Telegram app. Shout out to Secret Saviors of Underground Hip Hop, by the way. You saw their commercial at the beginning. It's a company that we're involved in. In fact, Eddie and I shot that commercial for Secret Saviors. It's a company we support. If you're into NFTs or into the crypto space, check out Secret Saviors of Underground Hip Hop. We're going to be talking to a lot of them. Their founders, AWOL1, 2Mex, Longhair 5150. We're going to be talking to these guys coming up soon, too.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
If you guys want to get into I think we're going to do a crypto episode. Because I don't know a whole lot about it either, guys. Like, I hear people, like, talk shit about it. And like, oh, it's not worth anything or whatever. Guys, again, I am one of those skeptical people. So Eddie can tell you, it drives him nuts sometimes. I research everything. Everything I research. Crypto space is an interesting space. If you're an artist, you really should be looking in there. Not for what you think it's going to change in your life, but for the more freedoms it's going to give you. Let me just say that. And then take it on yourself to go check it out. I'm not pushing it on anybody. I could care less. I have NFTs. If you don't have NFTs, it doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean like, oh, you don't know or you're not down. No, it's just something I'm into. I used to collect baseball cards. Not everybody did that. So it is what it is. But look into it. If you are interested in it, look into it. And we're going to try to help you along the way as well by bringing on some experts to educate us. And while they educate us, they can educate you. And you guys can educate us. Please do. If you are listening to this in the audio form, there's a chat room. We always have our chat room on. We debated about this too a lot.
Yeah.
Whether or not we were going to keep the chat room on during the show. I can tell you, doing a show like this, and I have all the controls in front of me. By the way, all the changes, everything that goes on the show, it's right in front of me. So it can be a little distracting from that and the chat room, but. Honestly, man, I love when people just come by, and now all you're doing in the chat room is watching us record a podcast.
Right.
So occasionally I will look into the chat room. Like I can look in the chat room right now. Shout out to Longhair 5150 was in there. Vic Vaughn. Super shout out to Vic Vaughn. Good peoples, man. Gene Flo, 7 Octobers, Melly. Yeah, man. It's the chat room, I love that, and I love to sometimes occasionally get questions and stuff from the chat room, but I think if we start a Telegram, I think it might be better, man. I feel like we could all kind of build in there. I want some ideas for the show. I want some recommendations from the listeners on people we should interview. So hopefully you'll share that with us, and you'll join the Telegram. We're going to have it on the screen next week, and we'll announce it for the audio listeners. Are you guys the same, by the way? Because I know this is the way that I listen to podcasts sometimes. Sometimes I just listen to the video stream on YouTube. I'll just play the video stream and then put my headphones in. I'm just listening to the video stream. So I'm assuming that that's probably one of the ways you guys will listen to this show. But if you are just in the audio version, so far, go check out the video version. Come and kick it with us.
Do both of them.
We're basically going to ride with you guys. Just like Cook was talking today, I'm into what our audience is into, and I like to talk to them, and I like to share experiences with them. And plus, everyone I've met in our audience is dope as fuck. They're all really cool people. That makes me super proud that at least what we're doing is attracting some really cool people. I hope to see more of that in the future. And yeah. What do you have to say, Eddie? What do you think so far?
I mean, I think the good changes are good, man.
Yeah.
Merging a little bit of what we did with Crappy Awesome with, Christie's the Internet, expanding to probably get another day. Not probably, we will have another day out there.
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing. We have to just produce more content because it's to be honest, it's what has been asked for.
Yeah.
And we have to just turn around and produce it.
Right. And I think part of us going really hard with this show and doing more of it is just that. And when we talk to the people who do support us, that is the thing. We could be doing way more. That is kind of the thing that everybody kind of feels. So we're calling ourselves out. We're going to do way, way more with this show and try to see what we can really turn this show into. Hopefully you guys will ride with us. You can go, yeah, I remember when. And this is, again, if you're listening to it on Spotify or anywhere podcasts are found, this is not the only episode of this show. There were other versions of this show, but this is the main version now. This is where we're going forward. And you can catch it on Platform Collection. Follow at Platform Collection on Instagram. Also, you can follow Platform Collect on Twitter. Follow me at KILLcRey. That's KILLcRey on Instagram. You can follow OG Hip Hop Eddie on Instagram. Reach out to us. Give us show ideas.
Yes.
We got some really cool things coming up. Again, me and Eddie have been friends for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
We're willing to go the distance on this show. So we've both challenged each other to become better people. And we're going to be bringing on people who are going to challenge us to do that even more. And I'm a little nervous, but it's okay.
I just got to take it.
Yeah, we're gonna take it. We're gonna maybe bring on some real life coaches. Cookbook is our friend, and I would have Cookbook coach me if he just didn't know me so well. He knows me so well. Like I almost wish that there was a way for him to coach us, but maybe he could be like a Christie's the Internet coach on call. You know what I mean? Like when we need something, we call Cook as an expert. Like we had Curtis last year. Kurt helped us through a lot of stuff. Shout out to Curtis King.
Yeah, getting him in 10, 15 minutes in and out.
Yeah, okay, but let's get maybe we get Curtis in through soon too.
Yeah, we can do that.
Can we? Curtis King, if you're listening, come back, man.
We will contact.
We miss you.
Yes.
Shout out to Curtis King, by the way. Curtis King Beats. Go there, check out the homie. He's a family member here on Christie's the Internet. I like to call him one of the invisible hosts. He's one of the invisible hosts on the show sometimes. So let me see really quick before we go.
And his presence is felt.
I wanted to. Where is this here?
What's happening out there? Oh, there was before we leave, and I forget.
Yeah, you got something.
Happy birthday to Melly.
Oh, shout out to one of our team members, Melly. Happy birthday to her. She joined our team, a year ago?
About a year ago or so.
Maybe a little over a year ago. I could be wrong. I'm horrible with that.
We probably are wrong.
But she is now one of the people who helps run Platform Collection. If you're an artist and you book with us or you're booking on any of the shows, you're probably familiar with her. She's also an artist in her own right. And today is her 27th birthday?
27th birthday.
Happy 27th. Oh, so young. I remember 27.
So okay. So her age, let me tell you, so she's born in 1995. And the only reason like that kind of connects is because I moved here in 1995 and I was 18 years old.
Oh my God, Eddie.
And of course you just add
What's
that.
wrong with you, man?
And I was like, damn, man. Like
she could be your little baby. Shout out to Melly though, and shout out to 7 October. 7 October's was going to come through the show, but she got pulled away at the last minute. So we're going to have her on soon. We're going to have everybody from the team back on. I know Gene Flo. I want to have Gene Flo in. If you know, I'm in a group called the Invisible Ponchos with the homie Gene Flo is my producer, music producer. And he has a show on our network as well called The Beat Block. In fact, it's this Thursday, right? Is there one this Thursday?
Yep.
Eddie is a producer over there on that show as well. You need to tune into The Beat Block. It's really innovative show. If you're a producer or a beat maker, or maybe you're just a rapper and you want to rap for a couple hours, he's breaking new producers and their music on his show in a radio type format. It's super dope. An hour, maybe 2. I think he did a 5-hour like New Year's one. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was a long. Yeah,
I listened to it over 2 days. But it's also it's super dope because you can play it like radio almost because the music is super dope on it, and I think that it's. I'm super proud of it. I'm super proud.
It's dope
to have the Beat Block TV on Platform Collection. So check it out this Thursday. What time is the show, Eddie?
It's 8 o'clock. Right?
8 o'clock, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 8 o'clock. Right here on Platform Collection on YouTube. So check that out, Gene Flow, for all you beat maker heads. Guys, we're just getting started.
Send the beats. hiphop80@gmail.com. Minimum 3 beats.
Minimum 3 beats. Oh,
1
shit.
to 3 minutes.
Wait, say that again?
Send the beats to hiphop80@gmail.com.
Yep.
1 to 3 minutes. 3 beats minimum.
3 beats minimum. All right, there you go. Boom, right there.
Let's
if you
get
are a producer, you're trying to get on, maybe you're not making enough connect. Look, Cook was just on here talking about, taking advantage of the opportunities. There's one right there. If you're a producer or a beat maker or a lover of hip hop music in general, Beat Block TV this Thursday. You know what I mean? Shout out to the Beat Block and the Beat Block alumni. A lot of the people out there. I see people in the chat room all the time over at Beat Block. So go there. Well, you'll catch us in the chat room there as well. So we should do some kind of crossover thing. Because did I tell you that Gene Flow? So Gene Flow, he doesn't watch it. He's not that much of an internet junkie like you and I are, right? He's more sane.
Yes.
So he hasn't seen like everything, and we've been on writing him because he hasn't like watched a lot of the Marvel universe stuff, and I'm a huge fan on that, but he's been watching it recently and now he's hooked and he's binging it. So he's binging What If, he's binging I think like WandaVision. He's binging them all so that we can so that we can talk. Because I want to talk to him about it because he's one of those dudes again who likes to think out of the box and sees all the the background stories and likes to put all the pieces together. So he's watching that right now. So shout out to Gene Flow for catching up.
Oh, you'll be
with modern times, man. He can come on Chris Sees the Internet now.
Yeah.
Because
that was the last one on the checklist.
Yeah, I was like, dude, what? I can't have you. Haven't even seen the Marvel
can't
movies.
Sign it and send it in. You got to still check the box.
Yeah. So he's good to go now. So Gene Flow will be coming up, and yeah, man, just a bunch of guests. I'm happy, man. I'm super happy that we're pushing this show the way we are, and I'm looking forward to the future of this show.
I would do my happy dance, but I gotta pee, man, so I can't do it.
Okay.
But after the show, I mean, I could show you my happy dance.
I've seen it many times. Unfortunately, probably more times than I wish to see it, but I have definitely seen it. I definitely. Oh, and guys, I'll be having some new music dropping very soon.
Word.
I have music done already. I am itching to give it to you. We had to move some things around on the calendar, but we're full go. I'm about to shoot a couple new videos, so a bunch of music is coming. If you followed us last year, we released a bunch of stuff on Platform Collection. We were involved in a lot of things. This year, we're blowing that away. We are definitely going to be putting out tons and tons of music and content and interviews and podcasts. We're going to be doing a bunch of shows.
Right.
Tours are getting booked as we speak. Trust me, everything is in the works. And we're riding it all the way to October to Thop Fest, the Happiness of Pursuit Festival. Shout out to 60 East. We're going to have 60 East on here again. So guys, if this is your first time and you're just at the very least, the first time you ever listen to this and you're like, hey man, this world sounds kind of interesting. Like there's a lot of different things going on in this world that these guys are connected to. I'm not lying. You're not lying. It's true. There's a lot of really cool, interesting things going on in the scenes that we dip in and out of, and the culture that we're a part of. Again, like I said, we're in San Diego, but the West Coast hip hop scene is something that is near and true to our hearts, and we're all over it. And we're going to be bringing it to you guys. So
you can have all of it.
Ride with us.
Yes.
Ride with us. Help us build this brand, and we'll see you guys very soon, man. Shout out to all you guys. Shout out to anybody who takes the time to just tune in, share the show, and share the show, man.
Please.
Share the show, like, subscribe. I'll tell you this, man. You're going to be seeing it everywhere. I'm running ads. I'm getting billboards. Eddie's painting himself and walking down Main Street. Like, we're pushing this show.
Mm-hmm.
Elect Chris Sees the Internet in 2022.
Immediately.
Chris Sees the Internet 2022. We'll see you guys soon. That was the internet. I guess we saw it, but mostly we're just kind of on it.
Yeah, kind of hanging around it.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys next time.